Man, oh man. It has been a minute. It has been a minute. I apologize for that. I've been locked in, as the young folks call it. I haven't streamed in since like February 2nd. It's been 22 days. I apologize to all of my 0 viewers. I don't give a shit because nobody's watching. That's one of the good things about not having an audience. I literally just have nobody watching, right? But when I do have an audience, then I'll get all these people complaining about, oh, you're late, or oh, you're whatever. I don't care. Nobody's watching, nobody's listening, and that's fantastic because I can say whatever, and then I can go back and just be like, oh, I didn't say that. Alrighty, today we're gonna get into the silver market. I'm going to kind of lay out. I mean, I do have on the title saying it'll retire us all, but I want to also kind of describe how silver is going to be able to end corruption as well, right? Because silver ultimately, there's a lot more to silver than meets the eye. There's so much going on with silver that we can't deny. You like that? You like that? So much more than meets the eye. There's so much to it you can't deny, baby. Right? So we're gonna get into it. We're going to. I have this. I always make a slideshow. Basically, these slideshows help me. I want to make the slideshow and kind of like put it on the screen, but at the same time, like I don't know. Should I? What we got here? Okay, we got that. Here. So I made this back on 220, and it's gonna be all of the topics we're gonna be discussing. I made this back in 220. So I've been thinking about this stream for a little minute. But goyim in abundance. I am goyim. I am real goy right now because Jesus, I need to get a better setup. I need to set this stuff up a lot better. Anyway. So for our 220 stream or 224 stream, we're going to be talking about how silver and heavy metals could end corruption. They could. I was going to watch the Clavicular and Piers Morgan interview, and I was going to do UFC Houston picks. But yeah, that's why I'm not even going to show the slideshow anymore. I'm just going to, do full webcam because we're going to be, instead of Clavicular and Piers Morgan, that whole bullshit, right? We're going to actually be indulging in UFC Kavanaugh versus Brandon Moreno, and also talking about Mexico and how silver is going to be affected by all the shit going on in Mexico. El Mencho is clapped. El Mencho got slimed out. Can you believe that? Can you believe he got absolutely slimed? And in retaliation, what do these Mexican, what do these beaners do? What do these cartel beaners do? They just start burning down buses, burning down cars, taking Americans hostage. They start running into airports, shooting shit up, which I don't think they even shot people. I think most of these cartel guys are just like, oh, Mencho's dead. Oh, I guess I don't have to kill anybody anymore. Right? Because usually it works on a fear factor. And, listen, You got all these chubby, cartel dudes that run off tortillas and chorizo, and they think they're going to go against the United States. And a lot of people have this fear factor to them as well. They think, oh, the cartel's not going to play around. Oh, the cartel's going to do so much to the United States. Dude, if the cartel was smart at all, they wouldn't need to do most of the things that they're doing right now. They wouldn't need to have it all run off of fear factor. They would operate more like Israelis, which I'm not even going to get into. All right. So anyway, let's get this stream done, baby. Let's get this stream done. Because honestly, I don't even want to stream. What is the point? If I get famous, people are just going to start yapping and yapping. There's going to be so many people that want this, so many people that want that. My filter for life is going to have to increase significantly. I enjoy the one viewer. I enjoy nobody talking shit in the chat, because then I gotta address it. And that's just like goyim to goyim conversation. It's not, or goy to goy. My bad. I need to use the right grammar here. Also, have a coffee addiction now. No longer smoking marijuana, no longer, drinking alcohol or doing nicotine, the pouches and whatnot, which, honestly, they're not too bad. I kind of enjoy them, actually. But, listen, today's going to be a good day. I'm in a good mood. Today's going to be a good day. Regardless of what happens, today's going to be a good day. All right? Elemento's clapped. Silver prices booming up. I made over $1,000 in silver literally yesterday morning. And then the day after, or the trading day before, on Friday, I made $600. $600, right? So a total of $1,600 just made off of silver. I am the GOAT. Hold on, let me turn off this fan real quick. So yes, I am the GOAT. All right. I am the GOAT of investing. No, I am not giving financial advice. Let's say that first. There is no financial advice being given here. There is nothing like that. I'll never give you financial advice. Okay? Okay. This is all not financial advice. It is just banter. Yo, it's already hot as shit. Like I talk for like 5 seconds and I get all sweaty and shit. It's annoying. Anyway, let's talk about why silver could end corruption, okay? So we stopped backing the US dollar with silver, gold, and whatnot in like 1971. It only took 54 years for it to start breaking. Like, I'm talking about the fiat dollar. It only took 50 years. That's not even a single lifetime for the fiat dollar to start folding under all of the pressure it's in today. Are we serious? That's all it took? And like, people say Bitcoin's going to replace the dollar, but like, that's just retarded. Please, that is just stupid. Because what exactly do you invest into Bitcoin? Fiat currency, dummy. Like, you invest fiat currency into Bitcoin. And if the fiat currency you're investing into Bitcoin is worth nothing, then Bitcoin itself is worth fucking nothing. It's so stupid. It's like this never-ending cycle of just worthlessness. I feel like Candace Owens right now. This never-ending cycle of worthlessness, right? That just, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Bitcoin can't be worth anything if it's not backed by a physical, tangible object. And a lot of people want to say, Michael Saylors want to say, oh, but it's energy. Nigga, please. It is not shit. I'm gonna tell you right now. We spend so much energy just to mine a node and, have these Bitcoin miners wasting all these GPUs. What are those GPUs, all that RAM? What is it made from? It's made from gold, dumb fuck. It's made from gold. Okay? There's golden RAM, there's golden GPUs, all that fancy dandy stuff. Listen. Silver is in literally everything. Okay. It's in this laptop that I'm using to record right now. It might be in this microphone. It's on my desk. These bad boys are going to retire you. They will retire your whole fucking family. If you don't believe me, just sit there and watch. I don't care. I don't care if you're just gonna sit there and, take a fat L because you decided not to invest in silver. That's fine by me. It's the next goddamn Bitcoin, baby. And if you don't believe me, well, sit back and watch. And keep holding your paper money and just wait until it turns into Zimbabwe dollars. Wait until it turns into Korean dong or whatever they call it. Who cares? I don't. I'll buy up all the silver. And I'll get rich off of it, baby. Anyway, Bitcoin has no value. Ethereum has no value. It's all just energy wasters. They just waste your time. There's nothing good that comes from Bitcoin. It just eats all of your money and it just makes somebody else rich. People invest into Bitcoin to try and get rich. People invest into silver and gold so they can hold their money and have a hedge against inflation. Do you even know what a hedge means? Oh yeah, no, never mind. You invest in Bitcoin, buddy. Anyway. People want to talk about the gold confiscation of 1933 and whatever. It was like Roosevelt who did it. Brother, please. Have some logic, right? This is why having a good knowledge, like a good base knowledge of history. Okay, let me rephrase that because I am. All right. This is why having a good set of knowledge when it comes to history is crucial. You need to understand something about the history of gold and silver. Back when we're going to read this article, and this comes from an article from Money Metals, moneymetals.com. It's written by Mike Mahare. I don't know if he's Jewish. I don't know. Okay, but whatever. If he is, it gives a lot more credibility to the story. Anyway, back in 1933, Franklin D. Roosevelt, he decided to confiscate, quote unquote, confiscate all of the gold. So, because, the US dollar, it wasn't as strong as he wanted it to be. So I'll read verbatim from the article. Some gold dealers use the confiscation story to try and scare you into buying collectible coins, and some Bitcoiners will use the story to try and convince you to buy Bitcoin, which is, like I said, retarded. Man, that coffee makes me need to take a shit. But alright. Now, you might call it a confiscation con because the reality is there wasn't confiscation in the strict sense of the word. So what actually happened? Article reads, on April 5th, 1933, President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed Executive Order 6102. He justified the move based on the Trading with the Enemy Act of 1917, as amended by the Emergency Banking Act in March 1933. At the time, the United States was in the grip of the Great Depression. A lot of people were redeeming paper dollars for physical gold because they were losing faith in the paper currency. Huh? Does that remind you of something? It sure reminds me of something. It sure reminds me of something, buddy. All right, man, this coffee's hitting. This is what sobriety does to a motherfucker. Like, I'm over here about to tweak the fuck out. But all right, this costs. Okay, so back to the article. During a fireside chat, a month before issuing the emergency order, or the executive order, excuse me, Roosevelt claimed gold hoarding during the past week has become an exceedingly unfashionable pastime, and he said that it was undermining the banking system. The use of the word hoarding was almost certainly intentional because of its negative connotations. It's that, Jew manipulation. That's what I like to call it. This carried forward to EO 6102. Stopping hoarding was the public rationale for the order, but it went far beyond merely taking large amounts of gold from hoarders by creating an expansive definition of hoarding. The EO was designed to take virtually all gold coins and bars out of private hands and transfer them to the government. The term hoarding means the withdrawal and withholding of gold coin, gold bullion, or gold certificates from the recognized and customary channels of trade. The term person means any individual, partnership, association, or corporation. In short, anyone who wanted to hold their gold as a form of savings was considered to be hoarding. Under the order, private citizens, partnerships, associations, and corporations were required to turn in virtually all of their gold. The order allowed people to keep up to $100 in gold coins, along with gold as may be required for legitimate and customary use in industry, profession, or art with a reasonable time, and rare coins. It read in part, deliver on or before May 1st, 1933 to a Federal Reserve Bank or a branch or agency thereof or to any member bank of the Federal Reserve System all gold coin, gold bullion, and gold certificates now owned by them or coming into their ownership on or before April 28th, 1933. Now I want you guys to speculate on a couple things, because this happened right before World War II. Keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind, right? Because what's about to happen? Is there anything that's about to happen right now in the geopolitical landscape that we're in right now? Is there anything that might just happen? I'll give you some time, right? But anyway, so I'll continue. In return, the Federal Reserve Bank would give individuals an equivalent amount in any other form of coin or currency coined or issued under the laws of the United States at the rate of 20.67 per ounce. We're talking gold here. We're talking gold. 20 an ounce? Brother. Really put that into perspective. Yeah, so $20 an ounce of gold. And then guess what they did? Once the government got the gold at that price, it did what governments do. It changed the price fixing to its advantage, raising the price to $35 and devaluing the paper money people received in exchange for their gold. Gotcha. Violators of the law were subject up to a $10,000 fine and or 10 years in prison. Crazy. Like so often happens today, Congress passed the Emergency Banking Act before the majority of members had even read the bill. It expanded the Trading with Enemy Act of 1917, a World War I statute still in the books today, prohibiting trade with enemies of the United States. Look to BRICS countries, look to many of the countries in the South. Across the border. Alrighty. One provision in the 1917 law empowered the president to regulate or prohibit, under such rules and regulations as he may prescribe, any transactions in foreign exchange, export, or earmarkings of gold or silver, coin, or bullion or currency by any person within the United States. On March 6, 1933, President Roosevelt declared a national emergency under 5B of the TWEA, authorizing him to declare a bank holiday to prevent the hoarding of gold. The president invoked this authority even though the section explicitly limited presidential power to wartime. Congress then retroactively amended the section to allow the president to take action during time of war or during any other period of national emergency declared by the president. When it passed the Emergency Banking Act 3 days later. Provisions in the Emergency Banking Act gave the Secretary of the Treasury the power to require all individuals and corporations to hand over all their gold coin, gold bullion, or gold certificates if, in his judgment, such action is necessary to protect the currency system of the United States. To protect the currency system of the United States. So, what was the motive behind Roosevelt's gold confiscation scheme, you ask? I continue reading. Despite the window dressing and the propaganda, Roosevelt's order wasn't a benevolent move to protect America from greedy gold hoarders. In truth, the government needed the gold. With the dollar tied to gold, the Federal Reserve could not significantly increase the money supply during the Great Depression. It couldn't simply fire up the printing presses as it can today. The Federal Reserve Act required the central bank to hold enough gold back at least 40%. The Federal Reserve Act required the central bank to hold enough gold to back at least 40% of the notes in circulation. But the central bank was low on gold and up against the limit. Since monetary stimulus, an increase in the money supply, is the Keynesian response to an economic downturn, Roosevelt was between a rock and a hard place. Excuse me. He wanted the Fed to increase the money supply and support government spending, but was limited by this partial gold standard. By transferring gold from the public to the Federal Reserve, the central bank boosted its reserve holdings, allowing it to print more money than it was previously able to. Sounds like quantitative easing, but it's hard to do that. It's hard to just fire up the printing press if you're backed by gold. So it's almost like if we began to back silver, or if we began to back our fiat currency with silver and gold, it would be a lot harder for these governments to just start printing money in order to salvage the debt, right? We would actually have to start using our tax dollars in an effective way that supports the country instead of what we're doing or what we've been doing for the past 10, 16 years. Just an idea, guys. Just an idea. Seriously. So, gold confiscation was the second step in Roosevelt's aggressive plan to weaken the gold standard. EO 6102 followed the heels of Executive Order 6073, which Roosevelt issued just weeks prior, prohibiting banks from paying out or exporting gold. A little over a year after the enactment of EO 6102, the United States effectively went off the gold standard when Congress passed the Gold Reserve Act of 1934. In effect, this law transformed gold from a currency to a commodity. One of the most significant provisions in the law erased the right of creditors to demand payment in gold. In practice, this forced debtors to make payments in whatever the government declared was legal tender. Gold couldn't even be used as the basis for determining how much paper money was owed. As noted above, when people were ordered to turn in their gold, they were given a rate of $20.67 per ounce. But the government wasn't done. The war on sound money continued in 1934 when President Roosevelt issued a proclamation raising the fixed price for gold to $35 per ounce. This effectively boosted the value of gold on the Federal Reserve's balance sheet by 69%. By increasing its gold stores through the transfer of private gold to the Fed and declaring a higher exchange rate, the Fed could circulate more paper money. In effect, the hoarding of gold by the government allowed it to inflate the money supply. So, the true question in all of this was the gold confiscation order. Holy Candace Owens. Was the gold confiscation order enforced? The short answer is barely. EO 6102 is often referred to as a gold confiscation order, and in principle it was. Roosevelt effectively nationalized gold, but the word confiscation conjures up images of police breaking down doors to forcibly take people's gold. That's not what happened, guys. That's not what happened. Federal Reserve collected plenty of gold, but only because many Americans turned it in voluntarily as an act of obedience. 2020. What happened in 2020 where like a lot of Americans just kind of did the same exact thing as an act of obedience? I don't know, guys. You tell me. But, alright, generally speaking, federal agents did not search for private holdings or seize gold. People took their gold and gold certificates to the bank and received the promised compensation. As Tom Woods noted in The Great Gold Robbery of 1933, the paper currency they were receiving in exchange for the gold had always been redeemable in gold in the past. So few saw anything amiss in this coerced transaction, and most trusted the government's assurances that this was somehow necessary in order to combat the Great Depression. The total amount of gold turned into the Fed remains unclear because the central bank isn't required to disclose detailed accounting. However, in their book A Monetary History of the United States, economists Milton Friedman and Anna Jacobson Schwartz estimated the amount was relatively small and that most people simply ignored the order. According to other calculations, Americans turned in about 20 to 25% of gold held in private hands at the time. In other words, a large percentage of people simply ignored the order. Wow. So all this to say, only 20 to 25% of people at the time had their gold confiscated. It really wasn't confiscated. It was just people who thought they were doing the right thing, thought, oh, this is going to stop the Great Depression, this is going to help America, which, really, nigga, it didn't. The government mostly relied on the voluntary cooperation of the people. So there was no actual gold confiscation. It was just the people deciding to, we're just going to give up our gold. Right? So, why is it so significant? Because, I think... Alright, hold on. Why is it all significant, right? Why am I saying all this? Too many people set themselves up for failure by thinking there is no way to achieve power in today's day and age. I say this because so many people think as though the government holds all of the power, when in reality it is our cooperation that allows the government to continue having this power. We pay taxes, we do all of these different things that allows the government to stay in power. And most people, they try and act as if they're going to do something, or they think as if, having a Black Lives Matter riot or having riots in Minneapolis is genuinely going to stop the government from doing what they need to do. Which, in a sense, yeah, sure, it hinders them, it makes things a little harder. But In reality, we as a society need to take small steps towards victory because, contrary to popular belief, a revolution and all that jargon, it won't end corruption, and in fact, it might drive us further into the ground as a country. It might drive us further into that corruption. So, if we hold on to heavy metals, that means that every single citizen in the country will hold a small piece of leverage. I don't need to sell you silver. I don't need to be that Bitcoin guy who says, like, oh, buy Bitcoin and it's going to retire you and your family. I know silver will retire me. I know silver is the one asset that is going to retire me. And it's not even an asset, it's a hedge against all of this inflation, all of this political nonsense that is going on right now. Even if you don't care about silver, if you care about an equal or a more fair society, you'd buy silver and you'd buy a lot of it. So, silver will rally. Silver will rally a lot more than it has in the past week, in the past month, in the past year. It is going to become one of the staple currencies in the world. Right now, we have China, we have southern countries that are trying to fix a way to get themselves out of the American currency standard, get themselves to stop having to use the world reserve currency, right? These BRICS countries, they are trying their best to start backing something else in order to not have to use fiat currency that we use today, which is the US dollar. As silver keeps going up, the US dollar will stop being worth anything. So it is important. It is imperative that you take your assets, you take whatever you have, and you start investing into some silver. And I'm not a financial advisor, so don't take what I'm doing, what I'm saying, as financial advice. I just make a lot of money from silver. Just, it just happens to make me money. Alrighty. Anyway. Now we get on to the topic of Mexico. Because El Mencho got slimed. I know. Crazy. I know. He's been in power for like the past 20 years. Even more than that, even longer than that. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. He never needed to be in power. And the reason I think they got his ass was because, well, Mexico delivers us like 50% of the metals that, or at least 50% of the silver that Americans use, that Americans own. And the COMEX, on March 9th, it has to fulfill a bunch of contract orders that, it's not going to be able to fill. A lot of orders for silver, it's not going to be, like, the COMEX does not have enough silver reserves to fill the 400 million ounces of silver that is in demand right now. So, having Mexico go under siege so that we can acquire their silver, I don't know. I'm kind of for it, right? We're making some big moves here in the United States, and it's because, well, I'm gonna tell you right now, there are a lot of oppositions right now who want the U.S. dollar to fail. We can't afford the U.S. dollar to fail. All of this infrastructure cannot be, like, we can't keep it if the dollar fails, right? We need something of value. We need something to have some sort of value, right? So, yeah, I mean, silver was just recently considered a critical metal, right? More than half of American silver comes from Mexico, and as metals go up, more criminals will pay attention. What does that mean? We can't afford the cartel to hold down these fucking silver mines in Mexico because they tax the shit out of them. They tax the imports that go into America. There are plenty of routes that they use in order to import this silver to America. And if these miners, they can't import silver to America without it being taxed 15-20% to the cartel, they're not gonna make fucking money. So yeah, no shit, let's kill El Mencho, let's get the cartel the fuck out of there, wipe them the fuck out, and let's have a better Mexico, because we need a better America, and we can't do that if we don't have silver and gold, right? We can't do that if the cartel's still fucking alive. So yeah, anybody who's in the cartel thinking that they're going to be going handy dandy and, you know, continuing on with their lives, selling all these drugs and, you know, fucking taking control of all these critical routes, yeah, good luck, buddy. And well, hey, I live in America. You don't, you ain't gonna do shit. Oh man, and all these people fear mongering. It's so gay. I'm sorry, dude. It's faggot behavior. If you genuinely think that the cartel has power over literally everything in the world, and you can't get away from the cartel, oh, they're going to get you, buddy, and it's like, no, dude, people talk shit about the cartel all the time. There's people in Mexico that have like news outlets where they talk about the cartel all the fucking time.
She's the one woman, not only
it's just so pathetic,
in MMA
because
that,
we
that
as
doesn't owe
Americans,
me a damn
we need
thing,
to have
but
trust
that
in
I owe
our system.
immensely,
We
and
need
I'm
to
always
have
trying
trust
to look out of what
that American people will be safe. American people will ultimately have the power in all of these nations. So it's pathetic. Need more confidence. I got big guns right here. Okay? I'm not scared of no tortilla-filled beaner who thinks they're gonna cross the border illegally. Wait, hold on. Border's fucking closed, dumbass. Go ahead, take your $1,000, go self-deport, go back to fucking, you know, Tijuana and go flip some tortillas and eat some fucking beef lengua. Faggot. I don't give a fuck. It's like, I live in America. I eat that steak. I eat that ground beef. I eat that sweet potato. I eat that ketchup, baby. Nobody's crossing the border to do shit. Okay? And we as Americans, we need to have that confidence. Because it doesn't... this power, it's not like it comes from nowhere. Alright? But anyway. I want to get into, you know, UFC. I'm tired of talking about all this silver stuff. Let's get into some fun stuff. Alright, this is fun stuff. UFC, all that stuff, you know. Hey, I was supposed to do UFC Houston and like picks and whatnot. Dude. Hey, my reaction though to UFC Houston. Listen, Sean Strickland's a dog. Sean Strickland, and this is what I say, right? The whites and the Mexicans have respect for each other. Anthony Hernandez, big old Mexican, you know, he's a good beaner, all right? He's one of the good guys. He comes to America, he works his ass off. You know, praises the Lord. Come on, man. And then you got Sean Strickland, you know, he's just poking fun, you know, I'm the real Mexican when it's fun, man. It's funny as hell. But it's like there's this coalition. There's this respect between the Beaners and the Americans, the crackers, if you will, the whites, the Europeans, right? Am I focused here, man? Like, this fucking camera, dude, it's so gay. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, I like this respect. I like the respect that Sean Strickland is showing. He knocks his ass out. He knocks Anthony Hernandez's ass out. He gives him the Sneeko treatment. Us. And then Anthony Hernandez just can't take it, all right? But there's still that respect at the end of the day, because both of them know it's together that we build this country, all right? It's by working together. And we can't work together with Mexico if they're fucking taxing everything and they're letting the cartels do all this bullshit. No, buddy. And everybody wants to say, what is it? Everybody wants to say, like, oh, who sells them the guns? Like, yeah, sure. Americans, I guess. But, let me get this fucking... There you go. Yeah, Americans, I guess. I guess we do sell them weapons, but look at the one specific time where they actually had the illegal sale of weapons happen. Right? Look at the actual I forget what order it was. I forget what president we were under. I don't know, guys. You tell me. Right? But everybody wants to use that argument, like, oh, we gave them the weapons. Who's we? What president? At what time? Anyway, I was talking about UFC. We're supposed to talk about UFC here, guys. Here's the fucking thing, you guys. Alright? Sean Strickland, he's a fucking legend. He's a legend, you guys. Alright? Dan Hooker, oh my god. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Never mind. I'm just not going to talk about him. Let's get into our UFC Mexico picks. Right. Yeah, this is in CDMX, baby. I just realized they're having this card. They're having this card literally right after fucking Mencho dies. Dude, Trump is like, oh, you guys are having a card in Mexico? Hold on, let me do something real quick. Alright, you're good. Alright, y'all are good. You're good to go now, guys. All the UFC fighters looking at Trump like, well, shit, man. Alrighty. Let's go to Mexico and fight, guys. Brandon Moreno versus Loner Kavanaugh. Alright. Okay. Alrighty. I feel like the goo man right now. So, Brandon Moreno versus Loner Kavanaugh. Alright. Let's get right into this bad boy. And to be honest, I might just end the stream after this, because we are already reaching on an hour. And streaming just takes a lot of voice effort, dude. Like, I've just been talking so fucking much. I don't know if you've noticed, I've been needing to fucking drink all these damn liquids and shit. The coffee dries you out a little bit. The water's here because, you know. Don't want to stain your teeth either. Anyway, we're going to go from top to bottom. I mean, as we go further down the prelims, if I feel like these fighters are dog shit and I don't even want to talk about them, then I just won't talk about them and I'll just end the stream right there. Because Poppy does what he wants. Alright? So, we got Brandon Moreno versus Loner Kavanaugh. I don't know, man. I feel like Moreno, he's losing a little bit of that oomph to him. He's very good. But Charles Johnson, he's a dog, all right? Charles Johnson, like if Brandon Moreno was to go against Joshua Van, like, I don't know. These are young up-and-comers. These are guys that are hungry. Loner Kavanaugh, he's hungry. He's ready to get that get back. All right? He's ready to go back out there. And yes, he's coming off of a KO loss, but I'm going to tell you right now, guys. I don't know what it is. I just feel the Loner Kavanaugh, he's going to get it done. He's very precise. He pushes the pace a lot. There's a 3-inch reach disadvantage, but still, I think Moreno just doesn't have that knockout power that Charles Johnson has. And once Loner, he kind of gets that feel, he gets punched in the face and he's like, this ain't a Charles Johnson. And I feel like Loner, he's obvious. Like, a lot of people make this mistake of thinking that UFC fighters, they just don't improve. When in reality, you have a cardio disadvantage. They're going to fix that shit. Just look at Zach Reese and fucking Michelle Pereira. It's like both of them were sloppy as shit. But what can I say, guys? What can I say? So official pick, I'm going with Loner Kavanaugh. I feel like he's young, he's hungry, he's ready to get this shit done. He's yeah. Going with Loner Kavanaugh. All right, next up, we got Marlon Vera versus David Martinez. And I'm going with Martinez here. I'm going with the Beaner. 13-1, like a 4.5-inch reach disadvantage, but still. Cheeto Vera's just fallen off. I'm sorry, Cheeto Vera's just fallen off a cliff. And I think after this, if he doesn't get this win, he's probably just going to fight another young prospect. And then if he loses that, he's fucking cut. Because what does bro even do? Tell me, what does bro even do? Yeah, really nothing. David Martinez, he gets this shit done. I feel like he gets this shit done. 27, he's a lot younger. He's got the age advantage. He doesn't have the height on him. He's 5'5". It's kind of crazy. But yeah. Cheeto Vera, he gets it done. Or no, Cheeto Vera. Cheeto Vera gets slimed out. David Martinez gets it done. On to the next, baby. This one. Man. Bobby King Green versus Daniel Zellhuber. Zellhuber really rocking that, what do you call it? When your, like, pelvis is pushed forward. Anterior pelvic tilt. I feel like he's got a big case of anterior pelvic tilt. But, anyway. Big reach advantage for Zellhuber. I feel like Zellhuber's going to snipe the fuck out of King Green. Strike accuracy. Who calculates the strike accuracy? And honestly, he had a war with Zell versus Rebovics. And honestly, dude, like that shit was just hot. That was sexy, man. Fight of the year. But anyway, he doesn't do much takedowns, but I do believe in Zellhubert's takedown defense. You know, he's 15-3. He's young up and comer, 26 years old. He still has a lot of time to get this shit done. Bobby Green, he's coming off of knockout losses. He's coming off of just... Yeah, it's not good for Bobby Green. These are some easy picks, man. I feel like they're just having a bunch of layups for Mexicans. Alrighty. So we got Edgar Chairez versus Bunez. I don't know. It's hard not to pick the Beaners, man. It's really hard not to pick the Beaners. It's like... I'm going with Chairez. Bunez... Dude, what am I looking at? Kevin Borjas versus... Who is this? Emanuel Rodriguez. I don't know. He's got the Contender Series pick. He's like... I don't know. I feel like Borjas gets it done. Jesus. Significant strikes landed per minute. 9.09. 4-inch reach disadvantage. Borjas is still 28. I feel like Borjas gets it done. Santiago Luna versus Pacheco. I think it's Adrian Pacheco. I don't know. Dude, who is counting these significant strikes landed per minute? Alright. Santiago Luna, 21 years old. 4-inch reach advantage. Yeah, I'm going with Luna. Ryan Gondra versus Jose Medina. Bolivian Savage. Oh, man. I remember seeing Gondra's fight on Contender Series. Dude, what is with these significant strikes, bro? What? I don't know, bro. Just based off 11.23 per minute, yeah, I might go Ryan Gondra, dude. We're looking at 150, 160 strikes landed per minute. Jesus. All right. Aileen Perez versus Macy Chiasson. Yeah. Chiasson gets it done. She's just way more credible. In the UFC. I feel like people sleep on that, but yeah, Chiasson by decision win. 5'11 versus 5'5. I mean, jeez, man. Now this is a controversial one that I'm going to give to you guys. Because Chris Moutinho, guys, he's not one to sleep on. I know. He's gotten slept. He's basically a journeyman in the UFC. You know, you get a Chris Moutinho matchup, you get a fucking layup. That's basically what a matchup with Chris Moutinho is, right? But they're giving him another shot. It's understandable. You get Malcolm Wellmaker and you get Sean O'Malley. Two demons of the division, right? But Quinones, he's not really... He doesn't have that aura to him, right? So it's kind of like a... And a lot of people, I feel like they underestimate Moutinho's grappling. Moutinho, he has some good grappling credibility. He has some good grappling credentials, I will say. So, coming into this fight, I feel like Moutinho is going to shock everybody. I feel like Moutinho is going to absolutely shred through everybody's parlays. He's going to say, fuck your parlay. And he's going to go through Quinones and make a statement. He's going to tell everybody that, hey, listen, I get it. The first 2 fights in my UFC debuts were not good. But I am back. I am here. And the only reason he's gone through so much trials and tribulations is because he just fights whoever they put in front of him. With no regard as to a game plan, he just goes. But I feel like he gets this done and he makes a run. Alright? If he can get his first win into the UFC, what that will do for Moutinho's mentality, it'll be different. I truly believe it should be different this time for Moutinho. And I just want to believe in him. I just want to believe in him, dude. I don't know what it is. I love underdogs, man. I love underdogs. And Moutinho, he's just had a bad shake, right? But anyway, I'm going Chris Moutinho. Controversial pick. I'm going to go Chris Moutinho. He's probably going to get slimed the fuck out, but I just got to go with Moutinho, man. Alright. Silva de Andrade versus Reyes. Man. I'm gonna go with De Andrade. He just looks more solid. I mean, just compare the physiques real quick. Like low key, like let's be honest with ourselves. Like who here looks more solid? Who looks more ready? De Andrade or Reyes? I'll wait. Anyway, we got S Montenegro versus E Caracat. Man, I'm going with Montenegro. She's better. It's whatever. E Silva versus F Marshall. These look like some demons, bro. Featherweight? Damn. 38 versus 26. I'm gonna go with Marshall. Pinas versus Wes Schultz. I'm gonna go with MMA experts pick on this. Wes Schultz. A lot of people sleep on him, but he's that guy. Wes Schultz is that guy. Alright. Come on, camera. Focus. 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 Hello. There you go. There you go. Alrighty. But alright, let's see what else we got here for today, alright? Because I don't know if that's all we're doing. I don't know if I want to end the stream yet. I do got a lot of things to do today, but let's see, what else do we have? What else do we have? I mean, we got the Les Wexner deposition. I wanted to make this whole point that, like, every single corrupt politician has a handler, and that handler is you know, juice box. 6 million, 6-7 million. My God, I'm never turning autofocus on ever again for a stream. I'm just gonna say that right now. I am never doing autofocus ever again for a stream. Okay? But if you actually look into the Les Wexner deposition, which we're going to get into next stream, so tune into the next stream and we'll get into the Les Wexner deposition. Yeah, I mean, there's so many times where the lawyer just like looks at his face, looks at Les Wexner, and is like, during they had a they went off the record, and then the camera angle finally panned out a little bit more so that they could see his lawyer, Les's lawyer. And dude, that guy is not fucking happy. That guy is not having it, man. Like, when Les just answers every question with more than like 2 sentences, he is mad. And there are some times that are very questionable, that they go off the record and then they talk about things a little bit. Literally, his lawyer is basically just like coercing him to just like answer in specific ways. And it's very important that we look into that a little bit more. It's very important that we understand, listen, these corrupt politicians, sure, they might be your enemy, but like having these riots, having, people assassinate all these people, like, it's not going to fix the issue. That is why these handlers are in the background. They're not trying to be famous. They're using these people as proxies. Okay? They have leverage over them. They use them as proxies. So when the American people say things like, oh, we gotta kill the higher ups, we gotta do all these different things, do you think that encourages... Let me wait for it to focus. Alright. So when these fucking goys say, oh, let's kill all the higher ups, let's get rid of the government, let's siege the White House, and we're going to take over and do the righteous thing. It's like, do you not understand that all of these corrupt politicians that are, so bad, all these corrupt politicians that are so bad, they are not your enemy. They are the proxy for the enemy, right? They all have handlers. So once you go and murk all the politicians, once you go and do all that stuff, whoever you instate in power, then they're just going to be vulnerable to getting corrupt. They're just going to be vulnerable to all the people who actually are doing the corruption, right? So don't try and be this fucking holier than thou, this, what does Nick say? This wholesome chungus, like this moral fag, and try and say like, oh, we need to take over the government and we need to do all this stuff so that, like, you gotta understand, it's a lot more complicated than that. There is a lot of people that are running the government by proxy. They're not in the forefront of the system. They just use the people in the forefront of the system as a proxy to, move the chess pieces. Right? So we as a society, we need to do a better job at finding who those people are exactly, and at least trying to lessen their power. And to do that, what did I talk about in the beginning of the stream? Silver, gold, heavy metals, So with that, that's going to be the end of the stream. Really not much to touch on. Not much else to touch on. I'm going to go over the Les Wexner deposition. Crazy what's going on in Mexico. But I don't think it's going to last long. I think it's just going to be a week or two. And then all the cartel's going to be out of there. They're just going to go back crawling to their little fucking concrete huts made with rebar, and that's it. So yeah, this is Vice Vestra. Make sure you like the video, smash the like button, Subscribe on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter, or known as X. And get yourself some updates from me whenever I want to do a stream. Hopefully I stream again soon, because I need to get this shit up and running. I need to start clip farming. I need to start doing all this stuff. So yeah, subscribe, like, comment, let me know what you think. I appreciate it. Vice Vestra out.